What sprint and jump training should you be doing this autumn-fall period? Well, in this video I'm going to explain what we do and how you too can benefit from this type of very specific training. I'm going to take you through a specific training week. Now, the first session that we do is a drills and hills session, and the work we do is predominantly downgrade, and you'll be seeing basic drills and more dynamic ones performed on this very slight gradient. The objective is to use the gradient to keep the leg speed there. It's only early season, so we don't push at 100%, but around about 80%, but the gradient is going to keep that cadence there. I instruct the athletes not to fight against the downgrade, but to let it do the work to a degree for them. We will be doing leg cycling drills, scissor drills, and across the 5 to 6 workouts in this block that are using the gradient, we will also introduce takeoff drills and various skipping drills. So it's a very highly intense workout. After those, we then do some downhill runs, again looking at using the gradient to keep the leg speed turning over nicely with relaxation. Then we take about a 15-minute break and move over to do some work on some steps. And we jump up and down the steps and also do various sprint drills. The objective with both the downhill runs and the down steps in particular is to overload eccentrically so that the sprinters and jumpers become better able to withstand force, which will benefit them when it comes to taking off and returning power force on foot strike when sprinting. Noting that you've got to block very strongly for milliseconds before you ping forwards. So that's the eccentric into the concentric stretch shortening cycle. There's also research that has shown that jumping down steps can improve vertical velocity, and that is important for the long jump and the triple jump. Obviously, coming out of the hop and transferring into the step phase for the triple jump, you've got to overcome up to 20 times body weight. So the stronger you are eccentrically, the better able you're going to be able to cope with the landing forces and project into the next phase. Finally, in this particular workout, we conclude with some uphill runs. These are my one concession to non-specific work, and it's just a little bit of fitness work at the end of the session. I'm going to say a bit more about that at the end of this video. Our Monday session involves work done without shoes, and the objective here is to provide stable foundations, obviously, for the body. So we'll be doing various in-place movements and moving forwards drills as well. And then we will do some sprint drills and some plyometric drills as well, and concluding with some drop jumps normally. We may also do some acceleration work in this session as well. I'll go into more detail about this particular workout in another video. Wednesday, it's more of the same. We will be doing preliminary work in terms of doing more basic drills, so more marching drills, more lunges, more foot strike drills, drills performed at walking pace. We'll also be doing a higher volume of leg cycling drills, tight cycles and more longer oval shapes as well. And we vary the height of the cycles as well, so we may cycle over the ankle, over the shin, and then over the knee, over distances of 20 to 30 meters. As we progress through this training phase, we'll also be doing some of the drills, some of the cycling drills, some of the plyometric drills, even with hands on hips, and then with a bar potentially held overhead, just a couple of kilograms. In the next phase, we introduce medicine ball work, so doing the same type of drills holding medicine balls, 5 to 10 kilograms, and those also have plyometric elements as well, so we may be doing hops and jumps and a medicine ball throw. This gives you more of an idea as to how the training progresses from block to block. What I'm trying to do is constantly elevate reactivity and elasticity and accelerative capacity. So that's why we go through the phases of running, for example, or drilling, I should say, with using the hands on hips, holding a bar overhead, progressing to the medicine ball, for example. That actually creates slightly slower ground contacts. But as we then progress into blocks 3 and 4, we start to speed everything up more. The same also applies to our weight training, which I'll go into in another video. I partly explained how my methods work. Well, I had an inquiry from a coach who responded to my video about the death of GPP, general preparation periods. And in that video I explained how I do very specific training, as I've indicated in this video. Now, he thought that this was a bit of a recipe for disaster, and that he'd seen how other coaches had tried to implement this way of training and had numerous injuries with their athletes and an inability to peak the athletes when it matters. There are layers as to how you do it, and hopefully I've touched upon that in this video. You don't sprint flat out all the time. You back off from, let's say, 100% velocity only by about 5 to 10%, but undulate over that line across the year. You build speed foundations, not strength foundations. You build fast reactivity foundations and then get quicker and quicker. And this is how undulating block methodologies work. It does require the coach to have a very good understanding of how to implement specific workouts and how to progress the intensity. It also requires the athletes to be able to explain, inform the coach if they need to back off a bit. Well, I hope this overview and introduction to how we plan and what we're doing at this time of the training year will help you better understand and implement training that could benefit you for your sprint and jumping. If you have any specific questions on the subject matter of this particular video or any of my others, then do leave a comment in the section below or through my other social media. Please do subscribe to the channel and feel free to share this video amongst fellow athletes and coaches. And if you do want to get a real heads up on what training I'm doing with my particular group at the moment and across other training phases, then why not consider becoming a Coach Athlete member. Here I go into great detail about my specific training. I provide training plans and programs, and you're able to see in real time what we are specifically doing as I talk through the phases. Head over to the channel's homepage, click on the membership tab and go to the Coach Athlete offer. If you're looking for a really fast training shoe that thinks it's a spike, then check out the Antiques Muscle Runners. They've got a carbon fiber plate which propels you forward, springs you out of the contact and adds to the velocity. They've also got TPU foam specifically placed in order to assist with toe off and encouraging a forefoot sprinting motion. A couple of my group members have been trialing them and they are full of praise. Indeed, Abraham and Daniel are number 2 in the country in their respective age groups, and they have attributed some of their success to the Antiques Muscle Runners. Check out the link in the video description or my video that I made which goes into detail on the Antiques. You can also get a 10% discount from the link in the video description.